Well, hello guys, welcome back to the channel where the Norse gods have fun, because they know my nature, and they know it a lot better than I do, and I think I know myself pretty well. I don't know myself at all. I went in a circle, you guys saw this coming, but I didn't. I thought everything was finally different, right? And they let me contact that temple, because they knew the rational side of me and the believer are always at war. It's like I'm distinctly half Apollo, half Dionysus. And I'm just using those because we both know, we all know Apollo, rationality, order, Dionysus, fun, inspiration. And usually for some reason Apollo kicks in, and Apollo kicks in hard when I'm dealing with them. So the rational skeptic kicks in. And the rational skeptic looks at these people and looks at this event and looks at them even talking to each other as if they're the gods, because they claim gods come down and live in them, and they are the god. And the rational part of my brain goes, unless they figured out a magic way to do this, this isn't possible, because in Voodoo, you have to watch out. If a spirit rides a human being for too long, they'll kill them. The human will drop over dead. You are not really built to take that for too long. And if they came down too strong, they'd kill you too. It's why Baliano very rarely appears in possession, because he can drop people stone dead. He's just that strong. And it's why sometimes when they come down possession, there's 6 of them, because they split that power up before they explode the little human transformer. So the skeptic in me is like, okay, they're probably making a little money on this, but they're not making much money. They're not millionaires. This isn't like the billionaire network of Greek gods. But what are they after? Because there was an article written on it, and the woman said that she was told she couldn't reveal certain truths under pain of death. And I'm like, that sounds exactly like Voodoo initiation. It's initiation to this path, and all the Will Robinson danger alarm bells started going off. That you have to dedicate yourself to these gods, and you meet each of the gods, and you have to buy gifts for them and give them offerings. And the distrustful, paranoid, Odin-loving heathen in me came out, even though I don't think I'm a heathen. And I'm like, what is this bullshit here? Why am I going to this place? Why am I spending money to be there and then buying all these gifts and giving them to these gods, supposed gods possessing humans? What is this? I don't trust this. I don't like this. What is this? No. And I'm pulling back, and it's just the rationalist in me always takes over, and the rationalist has destroyed quite many fine things in my life, but the rationalist is also there to protect me and say if it seems wrong, it is. The skeptic in me comes out because it's only this one group doing it. And the skeptic in me comes out too when I see what I call white people voodoo, and I see people doing it for the Norse gods too. I'm like, that's white people voodoo. This shit's gonna blow up in their face. And I'm not saying that to be disrespectful to groups that do it, but there's a problem when you start borrowing from other traditions, not understanding that that's an ancient tradition. It's been working for that specific group of spirits or deities for a very long time, and then plug and play with your own spirits. A lot of things can go wrong. Except like in Voodoo, you have a Mambo and you have a Ugan, and you have a lot of other people in the house watching over the possessions. Because just because you're calling on the spirits, just because you're calling on the Loa, that doesn't mean that's who's going to show up. And you might get a real badass show up, and you might need somebody there with the experience. And I'm like, I don't like these people that are doing this with our gods. Why would I trust these people so much? Because people are saying they're, calling down Loki to possess people, and I'm like, that is some really bad decision making. And Loki's like, And I read about Loki possession, so I don't know why the hell we're going in this direction, but we are, because we've done it 3 times, and I keep going in this direction, so let's see where it leads. I'm like, that sounds incredibly dangerous and it also sounds incredibly manipulative. Again, in my time of Voodoo, I learned that there are houses that do manipulate people. Since this is a channel for adults, there are houses that the Ugan or Mambo will take romantic advantage of people claiming to be such and such spirit, and they will propose a marriage, and they will propose you try out the marriage first. Yeah, you're not supposed to have sex with the spirits using a physical horse. It's not done. Now, there are people that practice a branch of magic where they do exactly that, but they are not recognized by the official branches, so-called official branches, you know what I mean. It's not set up like the Catholic Church. A voodoo traditional house is not going to recognize somebody practicing sex magic. They're two different, completely different things. So it makes me skeptical, because a lot of these people calling down the Norse gods as well end up doing sex magic, and that makes me very skeptical because it's not supposed to be a thing to do. You're not supposed to be calling down the gods to have sex with them in a human form. For one, in Voodoo, it's considered taking advantage of a human. Even if they had agreed to it beforehand, they're not there to consent at the moment it happens, so it's considered taking advantage of a human. And it seems hinky. And the gods knew all my alarm bells would go off. The funny thing about this article was, one, it kind of made sense and spoke to a lot of me having like the Norse pantheon and the Greek pantheon, but then she messed up and she called the Norse gods the Anglo-Saxon gods. And I almost spit out my coffee. I'm like, what? No, the English did have some of these gods, they did, but I'm like, I've never heard anyone refer to them as the Anglo-Saxon gods. Where did we go from Norse, or she was mentioning Nordic or something, to Anglo-Saxon? That's two very different ways of referring to them. The names would be a little different. The stories will probably be tweaked. It's kind of like if I wanted to... The gods are the gods, but in one sense, since I work mostly from a Scandinavian, Nordic point of view, I get that energy. When I've tried a Germanic point of view, absolutely nothing, and I don't blame them. When I've tried English, nothing. A vague sense that yes, we were in England, but that's not how we want to relate to you. We want to relate to you in this Nordic sense. And I think they want to do it in the Nordic sense because it's been so corrupted, obviously, in Germany, and it's been in England, it's this weird thing. So it's just been weird, and they led me full circle because they knew what would happen. Today the barn door was wide open, and I knew I could run and go have an adventure, and I was like, this is a trick. The barn door is wide open because I know I shouldn't leave. I know I should just plant myself down, so that's what I did. Sat down on my little foxy haunches and wrapped my tail around myself, and I'm like, it's very nice you open the door, but I'm not moving. And they're like, but the door's open. Yes, I know the door's open. I'm staying right here because this is where I belong. And Loki was like, I'm sorry, I'm a little deaf in that ear. What did you say? I said, I'm staying here because this is where I belong. I'm sorry, I can't hear you. Could you repeat what you just said? Damn it, Loki, you made your point. I knew I would. Yeah, you should have seen you when Freyr showed up last night. Ha 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 ha. Freyr pulled a trick on you. And I'm like, you're all like 3. Freyr's 3. Loki's free. Sometimes Odin's immature too. So all these Norse gods, they can be noble and majestic and awe-inspiring, and sometimes they're little toddlers toddling around your house doing toddler stuff. So I don't know what gods I have. Because Loki, because Odin, because Freyr. Freyr did a fine job last night. He wanted some stuff, and he tried to get it the sneakiest way possible, but Freyr being Freyr, that Freyr energy comes out a lot. He can sometimes be goofy and sweet and silly, but he is Freyr, and there's a reason all of his statues have bits and pieces on them. And Freyr's just, some are laughing hysterically. Freyr energy comes out, and he was trying to pretend to be another god, but he was being all purry and all, and did I ever tell you I'm a phallic god? And I'm like, this doesn't sound right. So Freyr tricked me. And it was weird because they were going from extremes last night, and they've been telling me to go with the flow. So first it was get rid of all the hot chicks. I got rid of all the hot chicks in the club, and then this god came in, this supposedly innocent god. Not in this household. So yeah. Yeah, the gods tricked me, and I don't know why I had to talk about that. I guess because the gods wanted me to face that if the inner skeptic in you comes out, you're supposed to trust your instincts. And my inner skeptic is like, I don't know why I keep being attracted to these temples, but at the same time, my inner skeptic comes out and I'm like, I just don't trust this situation. I don't think they're doing it to make $1 million, but at the same time, if you're not allowed to tell people what's happening, that's kind of hinky. And they could be taking advantage of people, and I'm like, what if they're putting drugs in the food so that you hallucinate and have all this strange shit happen? Because that's happened before. People have helped mystical experiences along. And I'm like, I don't trust it. And if my alarm bells are going off, I'm not going to get into this. I'm backing away. I don't think they're out to harm people. I don't think they're a nefarious cult of Greek god imposters, but at the same time, I know to trust my instincts, and when my instincts tell me no, something is wrong, I should stay away from it. Of course, the nosy part of me, the Loki fox part of me, is like, but I want to see! I want to see! I want to go see! What's going on? Why can't I see it? I need to see. So yeah, it's something else. I mean, I don't know what they charge for tickets. If they charged like 700, 800, 1,000 for the tickets for this thing, and then I'd be like, yeah, they're trying to make money, but I don't know. I don't know. It's just the skeptic in me came out. I don't know. And when the skeptic in me comes out and I'm bothered by something, I share it with you guys because you usually give me pretty solid feedback. I think I know a situation, and I'm like, well, if I keep pulling back like this and not trusting it, then that's what I'm going to go with. It's like there are people that have the Norse gods come down, but again, since I practice Wudon and I know where the tradition comes from, and I learn to respect the tradition, or Montempo or Hugon was going to track me down and kill me, I get kind of uneasy when I see other people doing it. Do I think the other gods can come down? Yeah, of course, but I think if it becomes a sexual free-for-all drug fuel party, that might be people taking advantage of sincere believers. So it's, yeah, when there's drugs and alcohol and sex involved, I'm like, not even Dionysus had this. In fact, a lot of Dionysus worshippers apparently stayed sober so that they could have the ecstasy of the god, which means to be besides oneself, and be happy and experience the god. If you're way too blotto, you're not going to experience much of anything. So I don't know. I know that was a strange video, guys, but it's, my warning bells went off. And it might just be, you know, that guy told me I needed a pressure thingamadoo and I can't afford it, but then I was reasoning with Loki, and Loki goes, this house hasn't had one for over 50 years. Water pressure's probably always been the same. Don't worry about it. Probably go another 50 years without one. So, it is what it is. So if you guys like what you see, like, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you later. Bye-bye.